Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Commentarious Magic Stream on today's Sunday, April 23rd, 2023. I am, as always, Grandpaws.
Big Cheese.
Cat, and
I'm Steve.
Hi, Steve.
Hi, Steve. I'm also just realizing that I just put the wrong date on forms that I filled out for 6 different people earlier today.
How wrong were they?
22.
Oh, no, it was a week off.
Ooh, that might be a problem.
It's okay. It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
That's the spirit.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I'll let them know to fix it. It's fine.
Maybe.
Anyway, we're not here to talk about the fact that I cannot count and or tell date or time. We're
Math
here to
is
talk
hard.
about the one thing that I can apparently do, which is play pony cards.
That involves counting and doing math and being
No,
able to read
no.
dates and times.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
If-
Look, if you show
if
up to
you-
Babs this weekend, you're going to have a bad time.
If you never let the opponent score any points, then you don't have to learn about counting.
You want to know what you are really bad at?
What am I really bad at?
You're really bad at proving me wrong.
I mean, this is true. I am very bad at proving you wrong. So, we had a couple of events at Babs. It was a good time. Everything in the CCG room went pretty smoothly. The stream went pretty smoothly, barring a couple of internet hiccups on Sunday, but no worse than what we dealt with in the past. And if you remained in San Pepple A and B, then it was a fantastic con, and there was absolutely nothing to the contrary that could have possibly gone on.
The vendor hall was nice.
The vendor hall was good. But I actually liked the vendor hall quite a bit this year. And so that's what we're going to focus our discussion on. Were the CCG events. Specifically, this is the first time that we ran this particular format of Pauper, isn't it?
The first official one, I mean, can't guarantee that no one's ever done it before, but it's the first documented one.
Cool. Let's dive in and talk about it.
Okay.
Are we going 1st through 8th or 8th through 1st?
So it says right there, we're doing 8th through 1st.
I'm not reading that. There's too many words.
There's too many syllables.
Many
Apologize. Yes, so we had 9 people in Pauper. I'm the 9th person. I believe I have talked that deck into the dirt a few times, which is where it belongs. So,
How far in the dirt?
well, let's put it this way. The main is currently just a statue, so...
We'll see how she does maybe after prize wheel.
Anyway, here's the 8th place deck. Let's see. I don't have the pilots up, though.
This one was David T.
This is the handy distraction starter deck.
Yeah.
Product placement.
You too can win 8th place in a Pauper tournament.
I mean, he hadn't played in a really long time, and these are all brand new cards to him, so...
And I mean, that is not an easy deck to play, nor is it an incredibly aggressive one, and Pauper has a tendency to be a pretty aggressive format, so...
But it has best queen.
But it does have Best Queen, who is a good aggro troublemaker, and it has lots of token things going on, and some good resource synergy, and yeah. It can be a good time. Turn your Pie Family Rock Quarries into 5-power friends with Claude. Or just play Rarity, Showy 1 Prepared. That's not bad. Firelight's great for aggro.
The best part about Firelight is Starlight's just I'm done here expression.
Just a little bit.
That's your opponent if you can make everything in this deck work properly.
So because this is a starter deck, I don't think there's a whole lot to talk about here, but good showing.
Let's move on.
Okay, 7th place. I just had this up. Why is it not?
Prism Light says burnt oak is rare. Is burnt oak rare?
He'd have to be, because that's 2 of the
Yeah.
same combo. Yep.
Okay, well, it was a starter deck, so I forgot the most recent ones actually did include a couple of rare cards. Good call, Prism Light. That's probably an easy one to swap out. So there you go. That's what we'll talk about the previous deck on. Check the rarity on your cards.
Yeah.
I mean, we also didn't check the rarity on the cards, so
We sure did not.
Oops.
anyway, this is Princess Cadence, orange.
This was piloted by Max. And this looks annoying.
This looks like something.
It's
Annoying is one word I would use for it.
It's got a lot of things that exhaust, and it's got breakdowns.
I see 8 exhaust resources and belly flop.
And it's running breakdown and Daisy Lily and Roseluck. Yeah, you're gonna have a bad time if you let your stuff get exhausted near this.
Yeah. Your friends are probably going to get eaten a fair amount. There are about 3 different versions of this deck that saw play in the tournament. This is a popular archetype, to say the least. It turns out when you can have repeatable removal on friends, just for doing things that your deck normally wants to do anyway, it's normally a pretty good deal.
And if you expect
Only
there to
a
be
little
aggro,
annoying.
if you expect there to be a bunch of aggro decks running around, then having repeatable removal seems like a decent idea.
Mm-hmm. Got your bailouts and your Princess Combo Meals and your Melted Expectations, all of which can deal with friends or characters. Belly flops for friends. Chuck an unneeded bonbon at home. Have them play catch. And then Haven Bay just gets huge, so that's always fun. I think the thing that kind of helps this deck is the same thing that helped it in its Adventure Constructed version, which is...
Non-popper.
Yes, its Adventure non-popper version. Which is, you are playing an aggressive deck that runs a lot of disruption, and generally those 2 things mean that you are going to have a deficit of cards in your hand. But thanks to Cadence's ability and good synergy with Haven Bay, you can actually draw a pretty significant amount with this deck and keep the pressure on. Plus, everything's so cheap between Snack Stand and Apple Bloom that you can often save a couple of AT, so if you do end up having to pay to draw, it's not the worst thing in the world. Shall we move on?
Yeah. Nice. Very, very annoying, which is what you want to hear about a control deck. Next. This is 6, and this is Godot, I believe. Yeah. So this looks a little familiar.
Kind of.
Kind of, yes. It's like
has
half.
elements of, but it's favoring the aggro approach to this particular color combo.
Daring Do and Dr. Hooves are good cards. What are you going to do? Free movement plus AT generation seems nice.
And
That AT
Meticulous.
gen is actually super nice.
And the what, Ivory? I'm sorry?
The Meticulous on Dr. Hooves. I was just pointing that out.
Mm-hmm.
Also very big.
Godot says in hindsight he probably should have run a purple main. Maybe. Twilight can definitely give you even more AT value. And your deck has enough non-unicorns and non-alicorns that you probably wouldn't want to just rely on that, plus your entire event suite is blue. I mean, that's the question, right? Purple's going to give you good synergy with some of your cards, but it's also going to make your purple entry less relevant, but then you get to switch over to running Loyal Pony, which is very good.
Mm,
A lot of your blue events have 3 rec though, so having that main there is pretty good. Levitation, Meditation, and Luna's Future, and In the Zone are all 3 rec though. So like it's a tricky balance. I think you can do either or.
I don't know. I think I'd side on the. Well, I'd have to look at the power histogram a little bit more closely here, but I'd probably side on with Rainbow here.
Mm-hmm.
I am a little surprised that Rushed Makeover did not make an appearance here, but that's okay.
That is a bit surprising. That's true. Very, very efficient color entry, and still has support with In the Zone.
Well, when you have 9 entry friends, so I'd imagine you probably figured it just wasn't necessary.
Get more bodies out there to push more aggressively.
Yeah, I mean, you
Yeah.
could consider it instead of like Stellar Flare.
Yeah, but Stellar Flare is also good for getting the main flipped as well as entry into purple.
Yeah, so there is a point there.
That's true. That's true.
So, nice.
Yeah, neat to see the color combo take a more aggressive approach.
I was looking at this a little bit at first and just going like, this is cheese with...
No.
Now, if it was cheese, it would be Tempest.
This next deck. Are we ready to talk about the next deck?
Yes.
We can talk about the next
Okay, so...
I saw the name and then saw the main.
And then those of you who have been around for a while can probably take one guess and name the pilot.
Yep. I'm not even looking at the script. I can tell you who played this.
So, returning for the... I don't think this has been run in Pauper before. Is this core legal?
This is core legal.
It is.
Yeah. So...
Well, hold on. Double checking. Yes, this
No,
is
it's
completely
core legal.
No. Yes. Daring Escape? Is Daring Escape Marks in Time? Is that what
That's
what is
Sequestria.
That's Sequestria? Okay, yes. It's core legal.
Yeah. So this is Sokol's Solano deck. It is missing some of the more prominent things that it usually runs on account of being in Pauper, but this is still recognizably the same thing. And it did well.
Yeah.
It continues to make decent placements, so why change what works?
Nice middle of the pack finish. Not too bad.
Prismlight asks, why does Sokol refuse to use print and play cards? No idea. You'd have to ask them. I know they have the things. I don't know why they don't use them.
Yeah, I don't think they've had a good reason necessarily. They even acknowledged a couple of suggestions that have been made in the past for things that they should definitely run, like the Grogar Troublemaker in the non-Pauper version, just to have better luck finding Tempest.
Oh, Grogar. I heard Gian was like, Grubber?
No, not Grover. Although you
Rudder?
do run Tempest, so you know.
Well, that's good, because he does actually run Grubber.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, yep.
All right.
Middle of the pack finish. Not bad. Fourth place, Bugle. Is this really being counted as white?
1, 2, 3, 4. It shouldn't be. There's only 4 white cards.
I think that's enough to push it over the threshold.
Are we calling it 4? I
Well,
thought 5 was the threshold. Regardless, it is.
it gets called white, so.
Okay.
Oh, Icy Seedling Seeker. This looks even more annoying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I basically, when trying to decide what to play for Pauper, just grabbed the Shock Troops list that existed in Adventure and tried to make it just as pauper legal as possible. Bugle took that list and switched out a couple of the cards, and I agree with most of them. Specifically, Seedling Seeker absolutely belongs here in this deck because if you are in a situation where you need to be exhausting your opponent's main instead of just exhausting all their friends to dismiss them, then why not do both? Why not exhaust an opponent's friend with an orange event and then double exhaust their main and then still eat their friend?
You're going to have the little taco pony who's just like Porque no los dos.
Right. Tender Taps is an interesting pick here. There are a good number of targets to be able to bring back in that it's almost everything that you have. And Smart Cookie was another inclusion. I think Bugle said Smart Cookie didn't fuel quite as much as he was hoping it would, but I don't remember exactly if that was the case, so maybe he can add some comments later.
Yeah, I also remember him saying that he didn't like the Smart Cookie too much.
Right. Do keep in mind, though, that this is Bugle, and Bugle can often get away with some, let's say, interesting builds.
Mm-hmm.
So, you'll notice that there's a lot of 2-ofs and 1-ofs in here, which, that's a little spicy, I think.
I mean, almost all the lists ended up doing that. There are 2 Princess Combo meals, there's 1 Big Mac, there's 2 Honest Ponies, and I think 2 Apple Blooms in every one of the lists. Max may have brought Apple Bloom up to 3. 2 Follow My Leads are in both my list and his list.
Seedling Seeker is so good.
Right.
Seedling Seeker, though, is absolutely the power play here, and I think definitely is the best inclusion in this
Right,
list,
but this, I think, reinforces your point about this deck, despite being in colors, well, or not including the cards from these colors that would be good at drawing you cards, this still manages to go through its deck fast enough that it can generate good consistency, so you can get away with that.
Mm-hmm. It's true. And a big portion of that is definitely having the 2 copies of Follow My Lead in here. Being able to use those with Apple Bloom as your fodder instead of having to discard other playables is enormous, and you can also discard them with Bailout. So I feel like the Follow My Leads in this list, as long as you are running Remarkable, are basically mandatory at least 2 copies.
Yeah. So, good show.
Yep. Next one.
Let's talk about chickens.
Ew, who ran this?
I don't know.
Yay, chickens.
Gross. Third place finish. Ivory, get up here. Admit that you like admit that you like chicken tendies.
I have never denied that. I just wanted to play a bunch of fast cards.
Did this
Gotta go fast?
I did. I played a lot of fast cards.
Did you go fast?
Yeah, a little fast.
Scootaloo is...
Fleetfoot,
go ahead.
Fleetfoot plus Rutherford with Scootaloo main in play at the same time is kind of stupid.
I agree with this.
How much movement were you like?
Yes.
Yeah, I was like,
you could have
like
6 friends at the end of your turn.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Every now and then we'll come across a format that hasn't really been explored, and someone will find a main and slot it into that format, and everyone just kind of stands by with Adam's face on as they're watching this game take place. And that was kind of Scootaloo in this tournament. That
there's a lot of value, and there's not a whole lot of things that can stop that value in Pauper format, even when you go into Adventure.
Yeah.
So
End of my turn.
Move 6 things.
Confront. End of my turn. Move the whole world up. What are you gonna do about like?
Oh, sure. The first 2 things I moved are exhausted. Everything that chained with them is totally fine, though.
Don't worry about it.
We'll see about
I think
that.
you should actually start worrying about this one a little bit. So
Maybe.
be prepared for the chicken tendies. Bring hot sauce.
Yep. Speaking of hot sauce, oh boy, we got a spicy one here.
What?
Kevin did what Kevin does.
On random deck.
No. Do you see
No.
the 18 in the corner there? There's an 18 in the corner there. Right in the middle of the screen. See that? It's 18. There's 18 Puckwudgies. That's too many Puckwudgies. Dear Princess Celestia, please remove 3.
There's 21 Puckwudgies.
This is also a 54 card deck.
Is it 54? It is 54.
Puckwudgies.
Now, apparently, there were some pretty silly moments across several of his games early, where he was able to find a Puckwudgie troublemaker and get several Puckwudgies into play. And it turns out that if you are not running dilemmas, it is entirely possible in Pauper that you can just be facing an undefeatable troublemaker.
Do we have Pinkie Pie Grump all over again?
Yeah.
Maybe.
It requires a lot more support, and you can deal with it because you can deal with the friends. But yeah, you can pretty easily end up with like a 64 power Puckwudgie.
That's dumb.
It's pretty amusing.
Just doubling it once is already like what?
It already gets problematic. If you can get 2 up, then it's just like,
As soon as it's at 16, that's nigh undefeatable in Pauper.
It does require some shenanigans. Attention-seeking behavior is also quite nice as well. Oh, I see that we are having a face-off, and I do not have much power in the face-off as I merely have these 3 critters. Let me just go ahead and flip 3 additional cards, all of which are going to be doubled by my main.
This amuses me. Oh yeah, that's got some peewees for the bad mannering.
You gotta have the peewee. You gotta have the peewees. You gotta have... I mean, the unsat in here are never going to be able to hit anything at 3 power. But at the very least, you can get something small off the field.
Imagine if Pee-wee was around in Premiere.
That would be rude.
Just like Pee-wee instead of Winona.
Yeah, the unsats are a little weird here because no Pegasus.
I mean, still.
Removal's removal, so that's
Yeah.
fair.
Dies to removal.
And it's worth noting, this is likely the most successful way to end up building a Puckwudgie deck. You don't need to actually jam 9,999 copies of Puckwudgie in your list. No, you don't.
Well, you can't, because that's the limit on Ponyhead, is you can only have that many cards in your draw deck.
Since when is Ponyhead telling me what I can and can't do with my physical deck?
Right?
I assume the stack would be strictly better if you just removed 4 Puckwudgies from it.
But Puckwudgies.
You probably don't need the creepy crawlies.
No, you do need that.
Do you?
Yes.
That's his resource removal. Oh wait, no, he has Brian.
No, you need the creepy crawly so you can play it and like wig your opponent out.
I guess that's true. Gotta run the promo version though. Alright, sweet list. Love it. Puckwudgie's in the number 2 spot.
Yes.
Was that expected? I don't think that was
I
expected.
don't think that was expected. First place?
Sure. Alright, we've talked this dang thing to death. I'm not gonna do it again. It's a less refined version of the thing that Bugle was running, but it was the first shot in here, and really the only significant difference is it's in Pauper, and Granny Smith is Pauper legal. I had to do the meme.
Did you ever actually get Granny Smith into play?
Oh yeah, and I got Granny Smith winning a face-off too, and going up to 6 power, and then immediately being retired to my home limit because it was still the worst choice.
I'm sure that felt great.
It did not. It did not feel great. Rest of it, same problem deck, same draw deck with some numbers tweaks in there. Granny Smith was a lot of fun. Switch that over to Apple Bloom Seedling Seeker, and I think you've kind of got what I would consider to be the most effective version of this.
Basically just came down to matchups and variances you were playing, you think?
Yep. Pipsqueak, having Pipsqueak early was also useful, and I think Pipsqueak is what Bugle ended up cutting for Tender Taps, and so having the ability to flip your main and get some card draw early is actually pretty important.
Yes. Yeah, which actually makes a lot of sense, and while Pipsqueak is chilling at home, they're generating Eager, so...
Right. Okay, so that's Pauper.
That's surprisingly diverse and healthy looking.
Are we about to say the same thing for the second adventure tournament as well?
Maybe.
We don't have healthy metas in this game. That's not a thing.
It's not... What? Why is this happening? Let's see, we had 13 people for the Adventure Championship, and I think that same statement's gonna hold true here. Like, the field was relatively diverse, and maybe this is just because the meta's been so shaken up that no one knows what's good and has figured out how to solve it yet, but wow, okay.
I think the top 8 only has 2 players running similar decks. I think everything else is different from each other.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at the top 8 for the championship.
Sure. You can check out the full list of all 12 on the Reddit post. So we'll link that here at the end.
And right now.
And right now. There we go.
Okay, so
Angry Unicorn.
top 8, seed 8. Sketchbeam with a Edgehorse deck.
BRB style, pink, Tempest Pink White.
Yep. Pretty traditional.
Yeah, it's got all the usual suspects.
With some Happy Trees, and Baby Flurry Hearts, and Dr. Hooves, because of course.
I am
Right.
And Teacups.
well, bodyguards as well. So this is using, I think, the final form.
I mean, Bodyguard, if you're going to be doing things like this, then yeah, Bodyguard should absolutely be there.
Yeah,
Is that the only white besides Miss Main? Yeah, that is the only white besides Miss Main.
That's all you need. It's worth noting that if you take the BRB style of like purple pink or pink purple mid range and or just the portaling gameplay style and you try and run it in core, it's more likely you'll end up seeing Skystar as the main, and the deck will have a tendency to lean a little bit more aggressively. And a lot of that honestly just comes down to what problems you have access to. Being able to run things like Entrance Exam or Blackmail or Trading Traditions means that starting with Tempest can often just be much, much stronger.
The second chance in the problem deck is interesting. Does this deck start second chance, not Trading Traditions?
I think it can against certain decks that might always want to go first. If you're given the option to basically take an extra turn before your opponent, it's not bad.
Yeah, I think this did in one of the top 8 matches, and that was a look on the opponent's face when they realized, wait, so you're going to end up with 4 AT on your first turn? And Sketchbeam was like, yeah.
Yeah, pay 3 Starlight Glimmer, exhaust Starlight, flip Tempest, throw the Grubber down. I like that.
Seems good.
That's an opener.
Does work pretty well. You can be especially rude if you lean even heavier into the AT Gen. Go Starlight Exhaust, Trixie Exhaust, save one, worn out your opponent's main when they move. Get a counter back on Trixie. Next turn, go up to 4 AT again.
Rude.
3 bait and switches is a little more than you normally see, although you combine that with the Happy Trees and the fact that we saw a lot of farm decks recently, it does make sense. You've also got the Worn Outs in there for the main focused farm. Discord Wrathful is effectively just another magical pony that will occasionally get you a nice additional chaos-based portal effect, but this deck does not have any method of top deck control. So it truly is just chaos when it comes up.
That's in the spirit of things.
Mm-hmm. Got some Rip Trees dealing with broad resource fields. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 portal effects, not counting Discord, between the 2 Luna's Futures and 2 Doctor Hooves, and then the 3 IDPs. A couple of school shutdowns to reset the board if you have to. Also especially funny if you have a Bodyguard in play first. School shutdown, or Bodyguard into school shutdown should be illegal.
We can make that happen, you know.
We can.
Why
we
should
can
this
make
be
that
illegal?
happen. Why should Bodyguard into school shutdown be illegal? You tell me, Cheese.
I want double bodyguard into school shutdown. I've done this. It's fun.
The deck does run less friend removal than some previous BRB decks can, in that it's not running Napcakes, it's not running Chaos Magic Blast, it's not running Food Fight, it has 1 copy of Friend to the End, and it has 3 copies of Belly Flop. And that's your extent of hard removal in the deck for friends. But the pink version does have a tendency to do better versus farm, so kind of just a meta read, but good to see some variety. Also, hey, look, it's our first purple deck.
The first of... Not that many, actually.
There's a couple. Not a whole lot, but a few.
I have a complaint here.
What's your
I
complaint?
am lacking Tempest and Grubber and Sunset Festivals. 51 card deck.
You have the power to fix this.
I do. Next
All right.
deck.
Let's do it.
Top 8, Seed 7. Piloted by Minty.
There's nothing funnier than being at a convention with a person who vaguely knows pony cards and sitting there saying, would you like to play a combo deck you've never run before in this major tournament? And having them shrug their shoulders and say, sure, what the heck?
Okay, but to be fair, once you see how this combo deck works, it's really not that complicated.
It's not.
You basically just sit there and ignore everything your opponent does, except occasionally, and just build your engine until you have
so
enough AT
many
to win.
ats. It's
So-
just give me all the ats.
Yes, that's how combo works, is you sit there and ignore the opponent, and then you're like, okay, I win. GG.
I'll just miss main 5 times this turn.
I mean, you have, what, the 3 Betrayeds, the Mysterious Disappearance, then, okay, there's a little bit more more interaction in here than I thought there was, but still.
You got Napcakes and Spectacle, both of which can top deck set something with 2 power. You got 2 Worn Outs. Like, this is not a deck that does not interact with the opponent. It's just a deck that would rather not interact with the opponent. It would rather the opponent sit there and apply a mild amount of pressure, and the deck goes, oh, okay, so you're just going to let me do this then, and then copy Tranquility like a billion times.
I mean...
If
Yes?
you get all 3 Tranquilities, then yeah, I guess so.
The Star Swirl and the same day delivery were mostly in here because we couldn't find the last cards needed. But so that explains the differences between the 2 versions of this deck that we'll see. But yeah, it's strong. We've featured this on live gameplay videos. We've talked about it in tournament reports before. In Adventure, this is the first time we've seen it played. It's very similar to what it does in Core, although you switch some of the Lustrodons over for Headmares and get to run the Spectacle because your problem deck becomes much more control-oriented. Turns out Spell Showdown is good enough that sometimes you accidentally include 4 copies. Maybe don't do that.
No, don't do that.
But
Why
otherwise,
would you not?
That's illegal.
wait a minute, that's illegal. All I'm going to say about this one for now is this is going to sound really strange, but I think this list is currently the best deck that we have available to slot the new blue event from Prize Wheel number 2 into.
Yeah.
And you're gonna sit there and say, but how do we
It
how
doesn't-
do we get to?
But Grand Pause, this deck doesn't have any blue in it.
And
You don't need blue. You have Rush Makeover.
You do have Rush Makeover, but Grand Pause, this deck doesn't have any characters that have 5 power. Wrong. All of its characters have 5 power. Sweetie Belle.
The swoots. Your power? No, comrade. Our power.
Bippity boppity, your turn is now my property.
Okay.
Okay.
This
Moving
is a
on.
deck to watch out for. Anyway,
Grognar.
See, top 8, seed 6.
Brain Dead Grogar Farm
Gogurt.
with all the classics like flipping Princess for a Night, slamming those tokens on your main, or power counters on your main.
Still love Let Down Hard into Big Hoof. Always fun. Haha, you're out of AT. You have no face-off tricks. Wrong. And then flip a power play for the bad manner.
I mean, you can arrange this even. You've got pinky senses.
You do. It's true. But if you're gonna pinky sense things, you gotta pinky sense the Big Mac.
I mean, yes, but at the same time, there's helping yourself and then there's bad mannering the opponent. Which of these things, truly, GP, is the most important?
That's fair. Also, he is running Diplomatic Debacle in this list, which means, yeah, that's 4 power counters on your main character if you want from Big Mac. That's gross. I like it. I can dig it. Couple ways to wipe the board with Catajack, and then you've got some classic villains over here. Yeah, it's just good old-fashioned Gogurt.
Not sure what to think about the Troublemaker sweep, but that seems like it's reasonable.
There's a bunch of purple force movements. Storm King's going to be pretty nice. You're not likely to be moving much yourself.
I mean, generally speaking, I think you're going to have a dearth of action tokens, so... Eh?
Yeah, with a high flip average, maybe Legion would have been a better consideration. Who knows?
Yeah, hard to tell. But...
Yep.
Okay.
Stunt dive with some interesting tech in here, though, so that when you need to push for that extra point, you can.
I mean, we all know and love 1 AT. Doesn't seem like a lot, but it's much less than 1 point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Next deck.
Next deck.
All right. Top 8, seed 5, piloted by Godot. I'm on board with this. It includes Silverstream.
It sure was fun to see this main at the tournament.
Honk.
Go fast.
Silverstream and a bunch of go fast.
This is go fast.
It is go fast.
I mean, it doesn't get you that incredibly disgusting turn 2-3 play of Angel Wings into Cadence into put Angel Wings back into your hand into...
True. It's not quite that fast. But there's a decent amount of disruption in here too, and I think that's kind of nice to see. Silverstream's going to favor that anyway, just because you've got the eccentric on the main, which can slow down opponents when they're not expecting it, and I think I fell prey to that at least once in the tournament.
Nescoto points out you've got Gallus and Silverstream here, which... there were some incredibly convoluted lines of play you can do with this. You can confront the T-Rex Rain to scare something, to slam a Gallus and Silverstream into free.
Why not all three at the same time?
Why not?
Might as well. Free is the best cost. I agree. And then look, you've got Burrito Attack and Belly Flops and Chaos Magic Blast and Smile, 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 which can shuffle friends away, and Trot and Spitfire and like Professor of Loyalty and look at it all.
Just look.
This has a little bit of disruption. And it can use almost all of that to make itself go faster. This is dumb. I like it.
I didn't realize this deck had dip in it.
Yeah, that was, I think, the one card that Meticulous Talks was a little confused on, and I'd also be curious if Godot can answer what Dip's primary target is supposed to be in this list. I'm assuming it's Plushy Dash, but it might be Night Glider.
Those are the two cards that I can think of that I would use it on.
I don't know anything else that I would.
I mean, you could do it on Gallus and Silverstream.
That feels terrible,
It
though.
really does.
Yeah.
You want to spend 0 for that card.
Plushy, Spitfire, and on shuffle. Okay, so Spitfire is fine. Except you have to discard to frighten, so it'll actually be 2 cards to do that. On shuffle, I believe Godot did say was in here to help keep his deck healthy because he had a tendency to draw through it pretty quickly.
Yeah. Go figure.
Drawing twice a turn with Silverstream, so
at least. Plus all the other stuff that you... because you can draw cards off of Spitfire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the dip's an interesting tech. Don't know if I'd personally run it myself, but it was neat to see it.
Yeah, I mean, there's things in here that cost 3. If you'd like more copies of those, then alright. Seems perfectly valid.
Alright, into the top 4?
Top 4. Let's see. Top 4. Seed 4. Piloted by Living Silver. A Balloona Orange list. This feels like somewhat of a rare bird.
How do you mean?
I don't think we've seen this a lot. Like even back in the day in Core 2.0, I don't think we saw this a lot.
No, we saw it from Smithers, and that was about it.
Blorange.
Yep, good old Blorange.
I mean, it was Blue Orange was certainly the terror of the limited formats for quite some time. Anything with marks in it is gonna need to think about that, but in a constructed setting, no. But this does some fun things.
Yeah, fun is a word for it.
Yeah, you get
moves extremely fast.
You get rid of the double diamonds, and then you just have 6 power Luna.
Right, and then your opponent who took out their discard pile disruption is like,
I've made a terrible mistake.
I have no answers to this. Yeah, it is worth noting that this deck has some serious teeth. If you have had the chance to watch the recorded game from Top 4, you absolutely should. and cut Living Silver a little bit of slack for not being on like full sleep or like fully braining.
Poor Leo, just like 2 hours of sleep and a cup of coffee.
Just a rough time, and still ended up with a top 4 finish here. And I feel confident in saying that both games that I played against this deck, if he had not had one or two individual brain fart moments, I absolutely would have lost both games. I think this deck is incredibly strong right now. It is very aggressively fast, and I was not sold on the double diamonds until the second time I saw it, and then I immediately became sold. Between Remarkable and Bailout, allowing you to pitch them pretty easily, yeah, just having a bigger main, who knew having big mains was good, right?
Didn't we, like, ban a card about that?
Yes, we did.
Ban a card about.
Yeah, but that main made itself big. This requires you to burn cards to make big.
It does.
Really cheap friends here. You can play a lot over the course of multiple turns. A lot of AT value off of Remarkable and Wonderbolt Stadium. It's just a solid list.
Applejack did many things wrong.
Applejack did a couple things wrong, yes. Desert Road is a pretty good card against the Portal style decks as well. And Mystery Mare, you look at some of these, you look at Mystery Mare and you look at First Mate Mullet, and these are just efficient cards. There were questions, I think Leo made a comment later about maybe should have included Orchard Blossom in here and had put something else in its place and wasn't sold on it. Maybe the Embers was something he was thinking about. There's enough diversity in the dilemmas here that you can maybe swap some things around.
Yeah, the numbers on the dilemmas are kind of interesting, but keep in mind here that stuck together can enable you to do some truly dumb stuff.
Mm-hmm. I wish there would be a way to include the new one-cost Smolder in here somewhere, but I just don't know what you'd swap for it. It just synergizes so well with Nightbiter Overpowering. I'd really like to find a place to put it in here, but I just don't know what to take out.
The one from Leaders and Legends?
Uh-huh.
Just the value play? Maybe.
I mean, again, right, you've got there's a lot of movement in here because you've got both your Plushy Dashes and you got your First Mate Mullets. So that's quite nice, right? But you also want to win face-offs by a lot of power for Overpowering. So being able to not only trigger its Traveler, but also get a big Diligent character up to a problem again, and then have competitive to help push you even more over the edge. But it is kind of an investment card, even if it is only 1 AT, so I just don't know. I really like the list, though. I think Luna Orange is probably better positioned than Luna Pink in a farm-heavy meta.
Probably, because I don't think you'd run most of the tools that'd be very effective against farm there.
Mm-hmm. So, very cool. How about more cool decks? What else we got?
Okay. Top 4 Seed 2, and this is, I believe, our only upset in the... Come on, push the button, thank you. Our only upset in the elimination round. It's the quiet one.
Yes, she is very quiet.
But her critters go very fast.
Yeah, she is also. She likes to chill.
She chills at home and then sends her critter friends to do all the dirty work for her.
Yeah, to do her bidding. Yeah, like it turns out Day Shift is a good card. And that Birds of a Feather is a good card. There's just like a lot of these good yellow cards that if you put them all in a deck, you get a good deck.
Isn't that exactly how mono yellow became a thing to begin with? Is eventually you just get critical mass on good yellow cards, and people were like, "Wait a minute, what do you mean this deck isn't a meme?"
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just kind of what it does.
Yeah, no, there's no memes here. This deck is strong
Well,
Yeah.
and
okay,
fast.
there's a meme here because apparently EO cards are hard to find in collections.
Yeah, I don't know where my conductor's batons are, but so there's 2 random fast foods. But yeah,
I mean, did you ever draw the fast foods?
yeah, I used them.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yes, day shift is legal in adventure. She's
And
not
Harmony.
legal.
Yeah, we unbanned. It was Day Shift and Portal and maybe a few other cards a while back.
I don't think we
Yep.
ever took Portal out, but Day Shift was one where she was removed because it was just incredibly powerful. And Yellow was suffering in adventure, so Day Shift was released on parole. And evidently, by the fact that there are only 2 of them in here, you either only need 2, or she's not that great in comparison to some of the other options.
Birds of a Feather needed to be at 3.
Yeah, I think that's kind
That's
of
why
it.
Day Shift is at 2.
I mean, sure, but you've also got Canterlot Citizens at 3 there.
Canterlot citizens sit at home and confront
Yeah,
problems.
I would consider dropping a Citizen for a Day Shift.
Would you?
Yeah. Sometimes you do need to win face-offs. Like, you do have some 2 bonus problems. And
Your crit-
having characters add a problem can be strong.
Your critters can help you with that,
They can.
especially when they get boosted.
And you got a Raptor Razor here for some counter to troublemakers. The Philomena is very annoying. Not as annoying as a certain Cyan Pegasus.
Hey, you know what? She's an efficient critter body too. 1 cost, 2 power, also disrupts opponent's AT if they don't deal with it. Seems fine.
Mhm.
Yeah, solid.
A Repulsor Blast.
Oh, Repulsor Blast. Oh, so good to see this card again. That card is my favorite answer to Troublemakers in Adventure. Nothing else even comes close.
I shall ignore that they exist.
Right. I don't care if they already exist. I don't care if they're going to exist later in this turn. I don't care.
Yep.
I want the one with more GPs.
You want the one with more GPs?
GBs.
I know what you said.
Okay. We're running low on decks here. Let's go top 2.
Let's do it. How was Scary Story, by the way, Cheese? Did you get the chance to use it?
Yeah, I don't like Scary Story and like, what is it?
It's hard to find use for it when you're not against a farm deck.
It's fair. It is kind of a farm
It is
card.
funny when it works because you can use it as entry denial.
It's
And
true.
there's some interesting things. Yeah, it's just kind of, I guess it's situational. I don't know what I would have rather have though.
Third Day Shift. Okay. Top 2, Seed 3.
Hey, we've seen this before.
We have seen this before. Is this identical?
Not
This is
quite.
This is running a 3rd copy of Map Cakes and a 3rd copy of Snack Stand in exchange for the 1 Star Swirl and the 1 Same Day because I couldn't find the other cards I needed to transition the deck over in time. So otherwise, yeah, second verse, same as the first. Use Magic Constructor, copy Tranquility, bury your opponent in value, make Brain Moist.
Apply Mist Moin until...
Mist Moin?
Mist Moin.
Yes,
My
this
brain is
one.
moist. Maced Moin.
That
moist.
was that is a new one.
The Moist Maker.
We're just going
Yeah,
to...
we don't have much more to say about this one that we haven't said already.
Oh, hold on, let me find some other weird combinations of syllables that kind of sound like Miss Main.
Waiting.
I don't think there's a whole lot else to say here. This was very funny in the one exhibition match where Bugleside got rid of the betrayeds, and then Luna started doing Luna things, and then Thunderlane started doing Thunderlane things.
I don't think you get rid of betrayed. I don't think you do it even if your opponent is not going to have any friends. You need your events to play to flip. I don't think that's the one that I would drop.
Be careful, because you might have to hit yourself, because I think that just says frighten a friend. It doesn't say an opponent's friend.
Correct. I'm
Sometimes frightening a friend is correct.
It makes you find more friends. It's possible.
You can pay AT to rally the friend if you really need it.
If there's one more comment I'd have on this list, it would be, it was good to see that there are enough strategies going on in Adventure right now that it did not go undefeated, because it has a very strong record in core, and there are fewer answers in core for it. So it's good to see in Adventure it does not just immediately become dominant.
Hey, Grandpa's, what did go undefeated?
Yeah, what did go undefeated?
What were you supposed to prove me wrong about that you failed miserably to prove me wrong about?
So what's this?
Look, just because a deck does not get defeated does not immediately mean that the color combination is overpowered.
What's this, GP? The deck wasn't winning this much when we dropped it off, GP.
Yes, it was. It was winning exactly this much when we dropped it off. We were told it wouldn't be as bad this time.
It's not as bad this time. You beat me in an exhibition match.
Yeah, because you drew badly, and then it never happened again.
We had close games. Okay. Yes, the deck did go undefeated across Swiss, and it did go undefeated across the single elimination. But it is not undefeated overall, and it was not a blowout in every single game. There were many games where this was actually quite close. And again, like I said, had Living Silver not made a couple of gameplay errors in both of the games that we ended up playing, I should have and likely would have lost both of them. And I think that's a good thing.
I mean, yes, but the important thing here at GP is that we need to twist your tail a little bit. I
know you do. Okay, so when it comes to portal strategies in Adventure, right, there's really two ways you can go. You can go the, I'm going to mess with all of your friends once they're in play, and also keep replacing your problem and being really irritating in face-offs. And then you go to the traditional pink build and you make a bunch of bodyguard tokens, and that's fun and it's enjoyable. Or you can go the, all right, well, my answer versus farm is I'm going to keep switching out your troublemaker, or I'm going to bail out your main, and then also I'm just going to absolutely shred your hand. And that's the orange version here. The combination of Grubber and Coriander Cumin and Twian Rarity alongside 9 portal effects is very, very powerful. And being able to make cheeky plays like, oh, you're winning this face-off, well, let me just go ahead and replace your Epic Troublemaker with a Nightmare Moon, or if you want to be really rude, replace it with an Enforced Equality. Or, I don't have any Troublemakers in my discard pile, I guess I'll sudden closure your Epic that you're trying to farm right now, or actually have an answer to Friends, which is the big thing that Orange has not had great access to, which is also the reason for Ocellus to be in here. By the way, Ocellus, kind of an all-star in this deck. Did a good job. She's a good little bug horse.
Traitorous little bug horse.
She may be a traitorous little bug horse, but she serves a very important purpose in this deck.
The one of?
Yeah, the one of. Occasionally, you are going to have matchups where you need to deal with opposing friends a little bit more frequently, and you don't want to keep using sudden closure. Well, use your 9 portal effects. It works just fine. Really, though, this deck just tries to generate lots of AT value thanks to Factory Organizer and Trixie, and then just tries to shred your opponent's hand. Just keep shredding. Just keep shredding.
Gross.
And if you ever feel like being extra rude, you can portal Catajack in immediate speed for, that fun.
Because we didn't make her in when you play.
We did not make her when you play. And you know what? That's fine, because she would have never seen play.
You say
Yes.
we as if we had the final say as to what Catajack's text was.
This is fair. We did not. We were too busy trying to stop Orchard Blossom, orange-white Orchard Blossom, from infinitely milling your entire deck thanks to Xerox.
Key.
So in Adventure right now, I like the orange version of BRB more than I like the pink version. I think they both have their place, but I think this was just a better meta call, and it had a tendency to work out, and it's not undefeatable, nor is it even undefeated, and I think that's a good sign, but it is quite strong. And I think quite strong is okay.
I think this is probably what I would say is the strongest deck in the format right now.
I might tweak the Bluna list and give it a run for its money.
Maybe.
I think it's one of those two.
So, despite all that, we still
Let me put it this way: that your list is the deck that people should be trying to beat.
That's fair. If you're trying to play against an interactive opponent, I do think that the Tempest orange-white portal strategy is a top contender. I would play against that, and I would play against Blue Orange if you can. And you know what? Honestly, Blue Orange is kind of a tricky one to play against into Solitaire, so while you're at it, play against the mono yellow thing. Like, it's not a joke. Those critters get big.
So, despite all that, it at least looks to me like the meta is acceptably healthy. It could always be a little healthier, but this is not a rut that we've seen the meta get into before by any means.
Yeah, I think, Ivory, you pointed out there were only 2 decks that were effectively duplicates in the top 8, and only 1 other pair in the entire field overall.
Yeah.
Within the top 8, every color was present. And actually multiple times. No, I guess yellow was only present in the 1, but it was straight yellow, so that counts for something. It's weird to sit there and look at older formats besides core and say, what do you mean this is good? What do you mean this is healthy? Normally we look at adventure and harmony and all those things and kind of just, gross. But this was good. This was challenging and diverse and multiple archetypes.
Yeah, pretty good.
Farm, control, aggro, combo, mid-range. It was all there. So, thank you very much to everyone who came out and played. And if you didn't get the chance to come out and play, or if you did and you want to play more...
Well, so I put up a poll, and some jokers are sitting here being like, we want Nightmare format. So guess what? We're doing Nightmare format. Coco.
What?
Yeah, but my super reacts got deleted, so there's no evidence of this. Because you had to super react Shoeshine to vote for Nightmare. You can't super react anymore in the Discord.
Terrible. Okay, well, I guess since that happened, we're going back to core. So we'll set up a Coco, and well, let's be perfectly honest. What's the next big thing, right? It's Everfree. And what's at Everfree? Precious. Potatoes?
events.
The really
Cards.
expensive bar across the street.
Continentals?
Sushi?
John Howie's.
Fluttershy?
Cloud9.
Yeah.
Fluttershy.
Ascend.
I think
That's
Fluttershy.
what it is. Anyway. I
So
think the answer there was Continental.
I think the correct answer there was Continentals, which, even though it would be interesting to see this in Adventure, we're going to keep this up with Core. So we want lots of opportunities to practice with Core between, then and now. So I think we've got the space to put a pair of Cocos and an online con. And, since we can't run a Nightmare Coco, I guess we're going to have to run a Core Coco. So look out for that going up in the next week or so.
Get hype. Get some practice.
But there is one other thing I think we've got, GP.
Yeah, it's probably also worth bringing up. If you've been in the Discord and you've been watching the various channels that are there, including the supplement channel, you've probably seen quite a bit of discussion going on regarding the next wave of prize wheel. And we are pretty close on this one. I believe the art is complete for all the cards as they currently stand.
See if I can get this to work. Yeah, so you have to go digging a little bit for this because they're not. I may have shot myself in the foot a little bit here.
They're not in the deck builder.
No, they are actually.
Are they?
So I pulled this down to prize wheel, and
Show us your secrets.
you have to set this to Nightmare. So the way that the OBS renders the browser, you can't actually see this. Pulling these down, I can't see them either. So I'm just typing and hoping. Anyway, there's some cards in here that I don't know where these came from. So just saying, you might want to go look at those.
There's a few spicy ones here.
The one that pulls from the card from your sideboard is a thing that you can do.
Look how angry she is.
We got a new epic troublemaker that can technically get you more points than any other epic troublemaker right now. So that's a fun one. We've got our second design a card reward is in here. And our second community design a card too. Y'all like pink.
Those were the wrong order, but you get the idea.
Yep.
So I don't think we want to go into too much detail on those at the moment, but yeah, if you're might want to go take a look at those.
Please test them. Please build your own decks and play games and run them and then come yell at us if things are stupid. Because once this goes out, I've asked for like 2 months or longer for people to try to test these. So no one is allowed to yell at me if anything happens after these come out. It's not my fault.
If there is stupid in here, it will be found for Continentals. Remember that.
Right. These cards will go live, barring some major disaster, and be available for play at Continentals at Everfree. Test them.
And they'll probably be good for the online con as well, not the first Coco.
Yep. Godot asks, how do you get to participate in the designer card stuff? The 2 community designer cards we've done at Ponybell Cider Fest 2 years in a row now, and the individual designer cards, well, win Continentals or have the reward passed down to you.
Yeah.
Continuing on a fine transition from the older times.
Yep. All right. Anything else?
Ponies are cute.
Ponies are cute.
Yes.
Let's go look at ponies. So we'll wrap up our discussion on this topic for today. We would like to give a big shout out to all our patrons on Patreon. Thank you so much for your regular support. And while we're at it, thank you to Smithers and to Hithrock and to Cursed Courts for being willing to commentate at BABSCon. We very much appreciate it.
And putting up with the terrible uplink.
Mm-hmm. If you aren't currently a patron and you enjoy what we do, please consider donating. Doing so does enable us to continue making content like this and lets you earn some great perks as a bonus. If you have comments or questions you'd like to send our way, feel free to reach out to us through Facebook, Twitter, or email. If you're a patron, you can also chat live with us on Slack any day, anytime. You can hear GP fail miserably at trying to do hardcore WoW Classic runs. Finally, if you're looking to watch any of our previous videos, including tournament recordings, you can find them on our YouTube channel, linked just below the stream. But with all that said, thank you to each and every one of our viewers, both here now and watching this recording later. We are, as always, Commentary is Magic. I'm, as always, Grand Paws.
Big cheese.
Moist main.
I'm Ivory Starlight, and I'm about to go make GP listen to Opaline's song from this week's Tell Your Tale.
All right.
He.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.